Travis Wayne Goodsell. I've been doing YouTube videos since, I guess, 2014, but more dominantly since 2015 when I bought the laptop and began doing them on this laptop. And then eventually would switch to this computer when I was able to purchase this in 2017. And so, yeah, the videos were few in those early days, and I was trying to learn how to use my movie maker that I had obtained, and trying to figure out all the new app systems and computer internet system. And if you have forgotten, or you're new, which is most likely, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints tried to erase me from history, tried to assassinate me multiple times, but this is when it started in 2008. The threats of the church were such that I filed for a petition for redress of grievances. And if you're unfamiliar with the Constitution and amendments, that's in the First Amendment. It's not just about freedom of speech, religion, press, gathering. It's also petitioning your government. Rather than having human resources distract you away from suing, non-disclosure agreements to prevent you from suing, and also many other things to prevent you from redressing grievances. They even created a civil court to prevent us from redressing grievances. Our government is purposely keeping us from having our rights. But that's another video topic that I discuss. And so in those early days, I wasn't attacking the church, wasn't criticizing the church. All I was doing was doing my education for you. I was, in a sense, sort of teaching, but more so trying to figure out the system and what I could put on the movie maker for you, and try to show you what I've learned from Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian. And then there was some stuff, Mormon philosophy and stuff like that, but I wasn't attacking the church at all. And those of you who followed me for a long time, which are less than a handful, and we pick up more people as less time goes back in time, they listen to my whole videos because they've learned that I'm building up. So yes, right now I'm doing an introduction for the video. And in this TikTok generation, nobody cares about this. And they're gone. They're bored. And so they are incapable of learning from me. They don't show me respect. And my message has changed since those early days. And so it was November 4th, 2016, when Fox 13 News Utah talked about the upcoming solar eclipse over America. And that's where my videos began to change. because I knew we were now in the latter days. That the name Latter-day Saints, this was what all scriptures were now talking about, because I knew and understood the total solar eclipse. And it surprised me because it's over America, not over Jerusalem. And so, I give doctrinal lessons to correct what the church is teaching you. And I have been in prominent positions that have affected each and every single one of your lives, either directly or indirectly. Directly, when you study your scriptures with the footnotes in the new versions with the guide to the scriptures. So yes, those are your foreign editions. So those of you who've gone on a mission to a foreign country since 2009 have been directly impacted by me if you're using the footnotes. Indirectly, all of you. Because President Russell M. Nelson has been making lots of comments that I've had a direct impact in the footnotes. And I go over them with you, how Nelson botched them because they rejected my recommended changes. And so, when Nelson took over and announced that a temple in Russia was being made, that was where I was getting confirmation that this church is the great and abominable church prophesied for the latter days. Because I wasn't sure, but sure enough, in 2019, as the church was again trying to assassinate me, I found the financial receipt that they had paid to have me assassinated and erased from history back in 2008. And so, I am very harsh towards the church and towards Nelson and Oaks and anybody else who dares to be put on the church news or speak in conference. Because I know, not believe, know, through science, that this church is pure evil. And that upsets Mormons. They don't understand because they haven't been following me. There have been people who have followed me previously and then into the transition, and they weren't following me close enough to catch on to why I made the transition. As he tried to say, what happened to you? You used to believe in Jesus. You used to believe, and you've lost your way. Bleep you. You didn't learn from me, did you? And so, this is what I'm having to deal with now. Is that I am not a teacher. I am not doing professional presentations for you. This isn't where I put all the documents and organize it perfectly and beautifully into a presentation where I can have little things on the screen. I don't know how it'll look. I guess it would be over here that I see other people able to do, and I can't figure out how to do it. I was given a program from another person, and it's going to require days for me to sit down and experiment scientifically to figure it out. That's why I just don't get to things. They get put in line of things to do. And that list is eternal. There are things that I have to accept that I will never get to. But, because I'm still trying to figure out this one. I'm still finding out, oh, I can do that? So, yeah, you've probably noticed some of my videos that will have text that has a dual coloring with it. That's not too long ago when I figured that one out. It was a few years back, but that took some time to figure that one out. And even the fonts, if you see my July 2017 video, which is my #1 video, my most popular one, you will see that I don't use the font that I always use. And it's a papyrus font. And I use it specifically because of the message. It's a symbol behind the message. And I had another person who falsely presented himself as a friend to me, but when times got tough, he ran away and treated me as an enemy. But he was talking about presentation on videos, and that my font that I use is the font that is identified with me. Yeah, it is. I specifically have done that for that reason. In the beginning, when I was experimenting with fonts, it was the comic font. When I finally figured that one out, but the papyrus seemed more appropriate for discussing religion. And so I've tried different ways to communicate and get through to Mormons, but I'm exceedingly smart in knowing my Book of Mormon. I use associative memory. That's why I'm so smart. You will not beat me in a you will beat me in a memorization contest. I will lose on Jeopardy. It's that simple. I don't memorize. I have associative memory because I didn't want to memorize in school. And so I taught myself as a kid to use associative memory because it was quick, easier, get the test done and over with, and then forget about it. And I learned that all I needed is textbooks, reference books. I don't need to go to school. All I need to know is how to learn how to learn. And they just don't teach you that in school. I taught myself that. And so, yeah, I have reference books rather than memorizing all that material. Because there's no way in the world I'm going to memorize all that. Are you kidding me? And so, yeah, this is one of the projects that I may never get to. I just need to scan them into a PDF form. It's just going to take forever. It'll never get done, apparently. I had to buy a new scanner, but it's also one of the boxes, as I'm going to have to get that set up. I have another desk that needs to be set up, but time's run out now. As of yesterday, I found out the date of when America is going to collapse. June 5th. So now we all know, and I've lost the majority of my audience. See? I build. We're not even done yet, because this is a comment reply video to a teacher, former teacher, who I thought I've banned before, but for some reason keeps popping up. So it could be a fake account, which is very likely because I do have those who attack me with fake accounts. And I'm confident that the majority of you know the Book of Mormon, where Laman and Lemuel falsely accused Nephi of being smarter than them, of trying to usurp their authority as the birthright blessing son of the family. And he insults Nephi, saying that he's a visionary man like his father, and that he's falsely accusing them of being wicked. This is a common pattern in the Book of Mormon. Prophets come, tell the people they're wicked, they don't like it, they want to murder the prophets for telling them they're wicked, and destruction comes to those people, just as the prophet warned them. And so, as children, we start off on a clean slate in life, and depending on our cultural environment and our home environment determines the rest of our lives. And so it's unfortunate that there are too many broken homes in society. In my grandparents' generation of teaching, teachers were still beating their kids in class. You know, the ruler thing. That was mostly a Catholic Church thing, but regular public school systems also had that. And so this was for children who behaved inappropriately, and it was a tactic to control and domesticate the child to be mature, to learn how to be an adult. You know, treating kids like animals. And then we had a more developed public school system where principals are in charge of the school, and so kids with behavioral problems the teachers were not allowed to beat them anymore, as that was now considered assault. And so the teacher then would send the kid to the principal's office. And so you got a lot of videos or movies and TV shows about schoolroom settings of the kids getting sent to the principal's office. And the principal would sit the kid down and threaten them to behave or they're going to be expelled from school. And the parents would get brought in and notified that their kid is out of control and they need to rein in on their child or they're going to get expelled from school. But then, economic times and dysfunctional families began to be more predominant. And it's inappropriate now for a principal to threaten the kid with expulsion when the kid is suffering from a broken home. And so they then fall prey to psychologists who now enter into the school system. And so now the kid is being brainwashed by a psychologist. And I've told you where psychology comes from. World War II, Nazi Germany. They were used to perform human experimentations on the Jews. And when we won the war against Nazi Germany, America, instead of locking up these inhumane monsters, gave asylum to some of them. Other nations likewise gave asylum to medical doctors and psychologists who were performing inhumane human experimentations. And America put them right to work with the CIA to now use Americans as the guinea pigs for the inhumane treatment. And over the years, documents have been declassified and released to the public that, yeah, that's exactly what's been done to us. MK Ultra, for example, was the use of psychotropics, LSD, to brainwash the masses, change their behavior. But a Mormon, Stanley Smith Stevens, has done the greater damage. See, he was popular during Nazi Germany time here in America. He did his work in Colorado, even though he was born and raised in Utah. And he falsely, fallaciously, unsoundly used scientific categorization of dichotomous and non-dichotomous categorization. Dichotomous means only two options, one or the other. Non-dichotomous is what's now referred to commonly as a spectrum of categories under one of the categories. And so you've probably, if you've been involved with psychologists or listened to them and heard them talk about spectrum disorder, this is what they're referring to, is Stanley Smith Stevens. And whether or not they know this, that's another issue. Because he's, I think, died in the 70s. I think. He's long since dead. And it's wrong because it's categorizing behavior now. Science used it to physically categorize appearances. And that's how scientists have now labeled a tomato as a fruit. It keeps changing during my time. But it's because of the physical appearance that they were able to classify it under the category of a fruit rather than the vegetable, which it always had been. And so understanding science is important because there's a difference between your medical doctor, or there should be. I'm recognizing a disturbing trend in Utah of medical doctors embracing psychology. First of all, they are pretending to be in a profession that they are not, and are treating people with that false profession. This is a crime, but there are also medical doctors who take a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. Psychology has no Hippocratic oath. They are not medical doctors. They cause harm because they're from those Nazis who wanted revenge on America. You know, they weren't grateful that we gave them asylum. They wanted revenge. And the CIA wanted to overthrow our government. They assassinated a president. They are our enemy. They need to be reined in, Mr. President. Yeah, bloody Gina still in office. God. But that's why she's called Bloody Gina, is because she was using psychotropic and even psychological torture on black site camps around the world. And she got caught having erased the videos of the evidence. And so these people think that they're helping America in their own mind not realizing that they're actually doing the bidding of the Nazis to destroy America. And so going back into the school system now, psychologists were telling the schools that teachers needed to treat the kids a certain way because of the students who were coming to them. That's what they used to justify. And the government has given psychologists a doctor-patient confidentiality so that no one knows, not even the parents, what the psychologist is talking to their children about. But we now see the consequences, don't we? This is all from psychologists in the school systems to destroy America. They've been human experimenting on all of us as children. Not me. This was after me. And because I was in the generation of getting sent to the principal's office. And never did, though. I was a good boy. Though I had a sociology class where the substitute teacher, who became permanent just by default, the class kept chasing away the teachers. And so his first day approach was just giving out detentions at the beginning of class. And if we behaved ourselves, he took them back at the end of class. But he was an effective teacher in that he taught me how to develop a whole civilization, which would come in handy one day. Except that I have no followers, right? You're gone, I'm talking to a screen. I'm all by myself and I'm talking to myself. And so the psychologists then are telling teachers to coddle the students, use positive reinforcement, positive affirmation. They were using the fallacy of emotional dichotomy, positive, negative emotions. And we don't want to have children presented with negative emotions. And so to avoid the kids getting negative feelings, we need to have participation awards rather than a grading system that can give students complexes. And I've told you the story about in 5th grade. We were assigned to do a report on a state. It had to be a different state. We couldn't do the same state. And I chose Idaho. There was no competition for Idaho. And so I loved Idaho. Grandparents Goodsell were from there. Had good memories. As my grandpa built the home and was with the new technologies. As he retired from farming and had a huge inheritance that my grandma got Alzheimer's and wasted it on. But nonetheless, good experiences up in Idaho. And my cousins run one of the, what are they called? Saunas? They got a pool and hot springs. And lots of wards take advantage of them to have ward activities there. And the students at Rick's College also go there. So yeah, as a family member, I go there. So lots of good stuff out in Idaho. The best potatoes in the world, ever. Any other potato just doesn't do. Sorry, Russia. Idaho potatoes are the best. Potato is potato. And so this positive reinforcement of participation in school was producing kids who were ignorant and entitled. So they went into the job market to sabotage the job market, because now bosses are hiring these kids out of high school, and teachers in college are getting these high school graduates that are now experiencing negative emotions. They're having to perform in order to do their job or to get a higher education. And they're snowflakes. They don't know how to process this. They don't know what to do now. But yeah, that's what I was going with Idaho. She failed me. I spent so many hours on that report. My grandma sent me information, and I got an F. I was shocked, devastated, didn't care about school anymore. And so this extremism of dichotomy, it's either one way or the extreme other way. We see this in our political realm. It's the two extremes that dominate. And then Bernie, who's an extreme independent in and of himself. But and so this created a major conflict. You've got high school students who don't know how to do work, and they're now staying at home with their parents, getting fat and lazy in the basement, not dating, not getting married, and yeah, negative consequences. This was a major blow to America with what psychology did in the public school systems, to have teachers teaching kids this way. And so I've got this commenter who says that she's a former teacher. She's retired. And I know already this because the elderly are the only ones watching my channel. Seriously, I've lost my younger audience. There's a few of you, but, and I know there's a few of you who want to feel like you're younger because of psychology, telling you that all you have to do is feel, and you can be whoever you want. And everybody else has to accept that. And then create laws to protect your feelings. Psychologists, again, they did the damage to deny science, to deny logical, sound arguments. They're using fallacies to attack America through our school system. And nobody's holding them accountable because nobody knows it's them, because they have the non-disclosure agreement that it's doctor-patient confidentiality. And they are given professional expert status in the court systems. And even here in Utah, there's a mental health court. And so if somebody attacks the church, questions the church, why does the Book of Mormon say it's in the learning of the Jews? You get locked up and imprisoned for the rest of your life, and you get erased from history, and you cease to exist. Nobody ever hears from you again. You think that's funny? It's got a basis in fact. This is why Utah is doing this. Because, yeah, but, yeah. And so, yes, you'll see in our culture that all of a sudden mental illnesses are on the rise. And Utah has long since been the highest per capita of women who take depression medication. It is a psychologist who psychiatrist who prescribes psychotropic medicine and other medicines related to behavioral problems. It is not a medical doctor. And so Utah is the highest per capita of attacking and experimenting on Utahns, and specifically Mormons, for the brainwashing by psychologists. And so when I warn you, when Oaks and others get up at the pulpit of conference and use those psychological triggers, you really should be paying attention. As like I said, you got to keep watching my video because we're 37 minutes in and I just dropped the bombshell about how it's tied to the church. All this time I was building up for this. I have to. And I can't keep repeating this information in every video. So this is the one video where you need to have referenced for other videos, so that you understand the context of my videos. And so, talking to Mormons, I can't flatter, pacify, and deceive you. Them. Whoever I'm talking to, myself. Use the right pronouns, Travis. And so I can't do that. That's Lucifer's plan of happiness, is to flatter, pacify, and deceive, which is exactly what psychologists did in school systems to do positive affirmation and positive reinforcement and participation awards rather than grading system. And now we're at a level where kids are involved with social media and the internet and apps and such. And society and the public school system are still trying to teach this rising generation of kids in the exact same manner that they got hired to do. A teacher-student setting. And it's failing the kids. They don't want to learn that way. And the school systems are refusing to create computer programs and apps and games to teach kids now, because this is their medium of learning and communication. And the old school always refused to allow the new technologies to replace them and retire them. And that's what you're seeing as a conflict. And so, yes, they purposely cause a teacher shortage to try to get the government to give them more funding and pay them more to teach. And they talk about the importance of making sure our children are taught properly, even though history has shown that psychology has screwed that all up. But everybody tries to con people into giving them more money and to keep their jobs to get that money. But no, we do not need that in-person teacher-student group setting. There are other ways to teach. And so I have been spending my time experimenting on how to reach Mormons. And I failed, but I've also been sabotaged by YouTube. The church has ordered YouTube, and there's an employee who works in Utah. And YouTube, if you're unfamiliar, they don't just allow people to upload videos, and then if somebody complains, then they review it. No, they have specific people in place all over the world that monitor randomly, supposed to be, people who upload videos to try to keep it somewhat under control. But YouTube has been accused of catering to Nazis, fascists, white supremacists. And I can see that because this is where the algorithm comes into factor. And the algorithm is designed by a human. It is not an AI system, even though they may try to tell you it's an AI type system. We do not have AI. I know, they say we do. I've done the video explaining AI. All it is a computer program. And they incorporated psychology into the computer program. And so, yes, it's now weaponized. And it's a very dangerous thing, and we need to destroy it immediately. Now, if we were to go back to a scientific algorithm that gives real-time stats and then makes predictions based on stats, then yeah, that's perfectly fine and is preferred. But no, they throw in psychology, and that screws everything up. This is what destroyed Blockbuster Video, was the algorithms that they used to provide stores with the amount of product to rent on a weekly basis when new releases come out, and it destroyed them. Because the biggest complaint of my customers, or our customers, I wasn't the manager, I was an employee, was that we didn't have enough product. And so our particular store tried to bypass the algorithm and get more product into the store, and that worked. We were able to turn the business into what was a cash waster into a cash cow. Golden calf. And they didn't like that because they were purposely trying to destroy our store because they had just built a new one up on 6,000th West. I was on the Bangerter and 54th. It's now a check cashing place. So, but yeah, once you understand the bigger picture of things, you don't need to fear when Will Smith comes out with an AI movie of AI robots that take over, or Terminators. But yeah, with psychology, you're already seeing ChatGPS creating rewriting of history, changing things, and you got deep fake videos on top of it, and so you're now able to see videos of people who aren't real, and they look real, and they sound real. Utah, Fox 13 News Utah, I saw just not too long ago, AI is now being used to scam people here in Utah on their phones, because Utah is well known worldwide as the most gullible in the universe because of the church has made them gullible, and so Utah is often targeted for scammers because of that. And so have I got all of the basic introduction information for you so that I can now get on with the video? I did a video yesterday about Beam and Moat, yet again, and gave you actual examples. And so, yeah, it's ironic that she would comment after I had posted that video. She did not see that video, apparently, and chose to make a hate comment, because that's, oh my God, that's exactly what she did to me, as she does this teaching method that she demands that I use and is threatening me to use. And this is why she has been weaponized by psychologists in her career field as a former teacher. The video that she was commenting on was Deceived by LDS Church Mormons. Deceived by LDS Church, Mormons protest, demand tithing back. I'm back to flatline viewing, but this is a little more than the flatliners, but not by much. And so the number of likes, and even the number of likes to dislikes, is the highest per video. This is extremely well liked by my audience, and here she is telling me to change. Are you kidding me? This one is a hit. I caught onto something here, and YouTube's algorithms won't let me know what it is so that I can repeat it. But yeah, there were 3 dislikes. You can't see those anymore. YouTube changed. And it's stupid that they didn't also eliminate the likes. That people can now see by the popularity of the video, by the number of views, rather than, oh, lots of people like this video, I guess I better watch it. Oh, I guess I better like it. This is a psychological manipulation that's being used here. And it's using emotional manipulation with likes and dislikes, positive, negative reinforcement. You can't use that on human behavior. It doesn't equate. And so YouTube thought that they were just going to show people how many people like a video, and it's useless. They need to get rid of it altogether, and they won't, because they have no interest in making money. Seriously, if you're not going to cater to the customers, and you're going to cater to those who are financially invested, you're never going to make money. It's a real simple concept, but the investors and the companies never have caught on to this. And so they've got to commit crimes against we the people in order to try to make money. They have to deceive and con us, get commercials to deceive us. Part of a balanced nutritional breakfast. Sugar bombs. Calvin and Hobbes, awesome. And so, yeah, all these years, I've learned that I can't deceive Mormons. I've got to get straight to the point. Church is false. And because of that, Mormons are offended. They are unable to listen to what I have to say. And because their spiritual witness that the church has sabotaged them with will not let them learn. And I cannot break that wall. Mormons do not see me as authoritative. They do not respect me. It doesn't matter that I'm the decipherer of Paleo-Hebrew and of the rest of the signs in the sign list of Egyptian hieroglyphs. That I've identified the Book of Mormon as prophetic for the latter days. That I've known, I've discovered the real church history. They don't care because they don't recognize me as a prophet, as one with authority. They automatically denounce me and accuse me falsely and reject me and my message. Exactly like every single one of the Book of Mormon prophets. And knowing this position, there is nothing I can do but to warn through condemning and calling out Mormons for their wickedness. There is no other teaching method that I can do to get through to Mormons. And so the shock value is the only thing that works. And yes, the majority, it just doesn't work. But it gets their attention. And they're offended. And they come ready to fight. And when they do make a comment, if it's worded in such a way that I will reply back to them, I just quote from the Book of Mormon or from the words of Joseph Smith, and mostly it's the Book of Mormon that I can quote from, and I never hear from them again. I've confounded them. I've silenced them by using the Book of Mormon against them. Because the Book of Mormon is the keystone of Mormonism. And I just exposed that they don't believe in the Book of Mormon. And that shocks them. And so rather than it being a moment of, that's in the Book of Mormon, I'm doing this all wrong. I've been taught incorrectly by the prophets. I need to leave the church. I need to save myself because they're trying to hurt me. Nope. Instead, they repress it and carry on and just ignore me from then on out. But I do have the one person who stalks me and always puts a thumbs down on every single video. They never listen to my content. They don't care to listen to my content. They are here to attack me, to put a thumbs down that you never see, only I see. This is how evil this person is. They need to disappear because they are a threat to my life. And YouTube will not stop them. YouTube has weaponized them with the manner in which they design their system. Okay, now can I get to this comment? Here she flatters me to try to pacify me. Whose techniques is this? Lucifer's. Travis, calls me by name. I am very interested in what you have to say. She lied because of the rest of the comment. Beam and moan. See, she's using Lucifer's tactics to deceive me. She's hoping that by saying this at the front, that I will be disarmed and I will be open and receptive to what she has to tell me. No, I have learned that this Lucifer's tactic is something that I need to put up a guard up immediately. That I need to be very critical. That I need to pay attention and not get fooled by her. May I suggest? Oh, there's the but. That you consider how well does that work on a guy asking you out on a date, women? May I suggest that you consider possibly, maybe, kind of, sort of, if you feel like it and you have the time and you want to, kind of, sort of, maybe. What are you trying to say to me? The demeanor. Yay! She uses a different word rather than tone or presentation. She's now saying demeanor. She's insulting me. She's telling me that I'm a little kid who has a behavioral problem and that I need to change and go see the principal or go see the psychologist to be brainwashed and then be weaponized as I become a victim. She hasn't gotten to the part where she reveals herself as a former teacher, because this is, I already know the information, so I'm able to go back and see what she's doing here. And so, yes, this is a horrible teacher. I'm grateful I never had her, because I can see that she is fairly recently retired and that she was part of the positive mental attitude, and she didn't learn anything from it, did she? Because they get weaponized. When you are told that you cannot use negative reinforcement, that you do not give negativity to your students, you then attack any who then are negative towards the kids. This is what she's doing to me. She's been taught that you need to use positive affirmation and positive reinforcement. And I am not doing that on my videos. And therefore, she now is attacking me. This is a hate comment. She is attacking me. And she claims to be in the profession. She claims to be smarter than me on how to teach. And you see how I've exposed this? Who's the better teacher? You use in addressing your audience. She put a question, but no, you may not suggest. Get the hell off my channel. Stay away from me. You're not interested. You want to hear what you want to hear, and if I don't say it, you don't like it, and you go away. She says this. You tend to belittle your listener. There are certain obvious things that all Mormons should know. And like I told you, when Mormons attack, they expose that they're illiterate, that they are wicked. And so I confound them with the Book of Mormon. Easy breezy cover girl. This is not belittling. Using science and logical, sound arguments are not belittling and condescending or negative. They are neutral with emotions. They are not positive or negative. They are another option that all of us, especially the school systems, are supposed to be using on our children rather than psychology. Because psychology causes harm. Science inspires and builds civilizations to greatness. Always telling him or her, you could have just put them or us, how smart you are. Excuse me? I am the foremost scholar of Mormonism, not just because I say so, but because I did the work. I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. Did you decipher Paleo-Hebrew? So I'm smarter than you with Paleo-Hebrew. How am I belittling you because I have knowledge that you don't? See, Beam and Moat is about false accusations. If I were lying to you, saying that my spiritual witness is true, all of you must accept it, I'm smarter than you because my spiritual witness told me things that you don't know, then yes, she can do this kind of comment. She would be justified. But she's not justified because I'm not using that. I'm condemning that. I'm talking about science. I'm talking about real history. And so she's very abusive here. This was a problem in my first marriage. I was very smart because of the research that I did, the study that I did, associative memory that I used as I developed it as a child. My first wife, she did not study Mormonism. She didn't really care. She was in the church because she was born in it. She was in a Mormon community, so it was a lax situation where she doesn't need to learn. Everybody's Mormon, and so you just grow up that way. You go through the motions. There's no need to study or research. You go to school, or it's a seminary, you go to church, and institute. That's a lot of teaching. And so you never think to question and fact check the manuals. And so I understand this. I was born and raised Mormon too. The whole church educational system is evil. It needs to be completely revamped. And we need to put in the manuals what the learning of the Jews is. They won't give you that information, for example. So, yeah, when you're ignorant, smart people intimidate you. And you feel threatened, and you lash out with emotions, and you insult people, and you name call them, and you attack them, and you beat them up, you threaten to murder them, you try to destroy their lives and disappear them from society. Because you're going to expose them as a great and abominable church, simply because you deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. And so then she says, great! Exclamation point. However, but I get tired of this approach. So leave. Why did you have to make a comment to insult me and attack me? And decide to turn off your video. So you missed the good stuff, haven't you? You didn't like my intros. As a retired teacher, I can tell you from personal experience. I just did that video yesterday. I don't think it was in this one, was it? Oh, God. Deceived by LDS Church Mormons, protest demand tithing back. I don't remember. I don't memorize. It's associative memory. There are different kinds of knowledge. There's memorization knowledge, which the public school systems demand we do. And I chose to create associative memory as a child because I didn't like to memorize. And then you have what she's talking about, personal experience. You live your life, you have experience that is unique to you, and you want to share that knowledge with others, and that's what she's trying to do. And then there's the Mormon false stuff, that beliefs and opinions and feelings are now knowledge. No. Those technically fall under personal experience, but you don't know how to process them correctly. And then there is scientific research and investigation using logical methodology, using the Socratic method for soundness in the development of your theories, and then testing those theories for confirmation and replication. And yeah, you're going, oh crap. Because you just do the memorization and personal experience. She, as a former teacher, retired teacher, yeah, that's all she knows. That's all she's allowed to do as a teacher. That's all we learn from school, is these processes. We don't learn how to learn. I learned how to learn. And so, yes, I already exposed her. That her teaching and her personal experience is deficient. And she was weaponized to attack me with that. Because she thinks she's smarter than me. See, beam and moan. How smart you are. Belittling your listener. She thinks she's smarter than me. She's revealing the truth. That's the video. I think. Or that was another video that I did. That taking down, talking down, condescending, just put condescending. I had a teacher for 8th grade. He wanted to purposely fail everybody in class to keep us from graduating. He was pissed at us. He got fed up. We weren't learning the material despite all the time we spent having to study for him. And so he, at one point in time, gave us a paper that the quality of word that we use measures our level of intelligence. So we had to use big words in sentences and as few words as possible to show that we were smarter. No. You were forcing people into a category. That was pre-psychology. This is where elitism comes in. and it's been used for millennia, as usually the ruling class creates a whole different society from the poor so that they can be superior. And this is what he was trying to do for us, is that somebody had created a chart graph that the level of word that you used and the amount of words that you used to express something determined your level of intelligence. And that's just outright false. They were purposely trying to conform people into this. But like I said, when you learn how to learn, that's the real intelligence, using science and logical arguments. Is not an effective approach. I already told you, I am not your teacher. I am one of you. I am your peer. And I have a warning message for you because of what I have learned. And I cannot present it to my desired target audience, which are Mormons, because they do not respect me and do not recognize my authority. And it is vital that I get through to them. And so I have to do my videos as I do them. And the video, as you see there, is shock value, because I don't get to the message of the title until the end. Deceived by LDS Church Mormons, protest demand tithing back. I spent introduction build-up time. And so apparently, she never even knew what the video was about, because she says she leaves. She was watching the video, got bored, made her hate comment to attack me, and then turned it off, as she says she does. Especially when used to make oneself higher in status. She's making a false accusation again. Beam and mode. Alert. Yeah. See? She's saying that she doesn't like my demeanor, that because I'm more intelligent in the field, that is belittling you, and that I'm therefore talking down to you as students. She's trying to force me to accept that I am the teacher and you are the student. I can't do that, because that's not what I'm doing. She's wrong. Her premises are wrong and leading to the wrong conclusion. And so I cannot accept her conclusion because the premises are wrong. She has to rewrite the whole theory. And so I am not placing myself in a higher status. That's not my intention here. My intention is to warn. I am the warning voice. That's it. That's all. I'm not elevating myself for a status. What the hell is wrong with her? She's trying to do it. She thinks she's smarter than me. She's talking down to me. She's belittling me. She's trying to give herself a higher status as a retired teacher. Beam and mode. She says, please continue your message. Oh. Reproving with sharpness, but showing afterwards an increase of love. Bleep you. Get the hell out of here. You did it wrong. She's trying to deceive me. You see what she did? I'm very interested in what you have to say. You suck. Please continue your message. But consider approaching your listeners with more respect. Bleep you. I'm not given respect. What's the golden rule that comes from the law of the Jews? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If I am as ignorant and as wicked as Mormons, yes, I would want someone like me to treat me like this. If Mormons want respect, they need to have it. They need to give it. But too many Mormons have been belittled and talked down to by the prophets and do not respect themselves. And so they then lash out giving no respect to others because they do not respect themselves. Beam them out. And so, yeah, there's the scripture that only talking about death and destruction and the consequences of wickedness. And I don't have it memorized, so I'm not able to know if I can find it in the search in my scripture program quick enough, because we're already at an hour and 17 minutes and nobody's listening. But that's what I'm referring to, is that Mormons are past feeling and are ripened for destruction. And we now know the date of that destruction, June 5th.